This is Joe Hoyle at the University of Richmond, and I'm making a series of short little videos about my Accounting 201 class to help you get ready for the coming semester. These will all be fairly short, and all I'm trying to do is to show you how the course is designed. Most students have never had distance learning, not in a serious way, so therefore they don't necessarily understand how it works. I think you'll have a much better semester if you understand how this process is going to work before you actually start. So I'm going to make a couple of videos to show you what we're going to do. And I will start by saying I am very, very optimistic, positive about the coming semester. After spring break in the spring, we had a great semester, and I want to build on that to have an even better semester this time. So in this video we're going to do today, we're going to look at what I call guided reading. I think it's very important for you to understand that one of the problems that students have is reading a textbook. Many textbooks are not written terribly well, and they're often written for people who already know the topic. So therefore, you try to read the textbook and you struggle and you think it's your fault when it really is just not a very good textbook. So for each of the chapters, I have created what I call PowerPoint flashcards. And I want to walk you through the PowerPoint flashcards. And I simply picked chapter 7 today just to have something to read together with this. And all this is designed to do is to help you have an efficient reading of the textbook, because this forms the foundation of what we're going to do thereafter. So if you don't get the textbook down well, then you're going to struggle somewhat. But if I can help you make sure to get the textbook covered well, then the rest of it's going to go fine. So I'm hoping you understand that I'm sitting here looking at a PowerPoint, and you can see this is for my course. This is not available to you. This is simply a storehouse that I'm using to keep up with the material I'm producing this summer. When the semester starts, you'll have your own course and the material will be loaded into this. But I want to show you what we've got here. So if we come down and if, for example, you're not very comfortable with Blackboard, send me an email and I will give you some information on how to use Blackboard. But I imagine that almost all of the students are comfortable with Blackboard. But if not, let me know. Now, in this situation, we're going to come down and I will go to Course Documents. And in Course Documents, I'm going to click on Course Documents. And as I said, you can see material here for almost all the chapters. I'm working on this as we go along. And I come down to chapter 7. So let's just assume you're starting chapter 7. And I want you to read chapter 7. So I come in here to chapter 7, click on that, and sure enough, the very, very first thing is the PowerPoint flashcards. And the goal is that they're going to help you understand the reading of this chapter. So when I assign the chapter, I'm going to do this probably in thirds, something like that. So I want you to read about a third of the chapter, and I want you to understand that third. So when I assign the chapter to you, I will also assign you a certain number of these flashcards. So we come in here, and it's going to take about 10 seconds, something like that, to download it. And so we come over here, and sure enough, here is the PowerPoint. This is for chapter 7. And you notice up here, chapter 7, third edition of Financial Accounting. And you can also notice that our textbook is Financial Accounting, and I am the main author of this textbook. And I want to say something about that. Most of the textbooks that you have were written for the world at large. So sometimes they will fit your class and sometimes they will not. When I wrote this textbook a couple of years ago with the help of Professor Skinder and Professor Kratz, I wrote it for the University of Richmond for my students. This is a personalized textbook. I wrote it for what I wanted to cover in this course. So for better or worse, this is for you, to tell you the truth. So let's assume I have assigned you a section in the textbook, and I have told you that I want you to go through 30 of these cards, something like that. Now, one of the things you'll find out in my course is that I will typically email you probably every day and simply say, okay, it's Monday, it's Tuesday, it's Wednesday, and here's what I would like for you to do today. So there's no question It's not going to be something where you go, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I will write you, I'll talk about the material, and I will say, here's what you need to do today, or by today or tomorrow, something like that. So I have told you, for example, to go through the first 30 of these cards. And you can see the very thing is we go to card number 2, and this is an opening video that goes with this. It's about an 8 or 9 minute video just to introduce the material. When you have something like this, I really do want you to watch the video. It's only about 8 or 9 minutes. It forms a foundation for that coverage. If you don't watch the video, there's no reason to look at the textbook. You don't want to learn the material. I want you to learn the material, and the video is created to get you started. Now, once you have that done, we go to card 3, and notice it says here, read the first section of chapter 7. That's about 4 or 5 pages. It's not very long. And rather than simply say, go do it, I say, let's just talk about what we're doing here. Assume Jones Company reports net accounts receivable of $433,976. What the heck does that figure represent? How did the company arrive at that balance? I want you to understand that what the issue is we're trying to determine. They've got accounts receivable. They're reporting their accounts receivable. What are they trying to report in that case? So you've seen the video now, and you've read the first 4 or 5 pages of the chapter. Now we're going to give you a couple of questions just to make sure you saw what I wanted you to see. Now notice this is chapter 7. This is question number 1 in chapter 7. What are accounts receivable? Where are accounts receivable presented on a set of financial statements? This is a very easy question. And then rather than let you sit there and stew about it, the very next card gives you my answer. This is again chapter 7. This is the answer to question number 1, and you can see that through there. So what I'm going to do at this point then is I'm going to give you a couple of very basic questions just to make sure that you saw what I wanted you to see. Now notice we get down to this one, and there's a little speaker icon. In a lot of these flashcards, I have embedded about a 20-second audio clip. I always think it's good to have the teacher talk to you. So when I have a card here that I think a little talking would help too, I embedded the audio clip to say, listen, let me talk to you in person to give you some information. I don't know that you have to listen to all of those, but I definitely think you should listen to some of them, if not many of them. Many students are fairly well audio learners, auditory learners. This might be the thing for you. And when I wrote this, what I always thought about was, when I stand in front of a room, I write on a board and I talk to the student. So the flashcard is my writing on the board, and the audio clip is my talking to the students. And so we go down to question 7, so on down through here. And after a while, it's about time to do something else. So therefore, I make a suggestion. And notice here that when I wrote the textbook, all through the textbook, I put in little test questions just to make sure that you have caught what I wanted you to catch. So notice that in section 7.1, the first test yourself question starts off by Hawthorne Company, and it gives the question there. I want to draw your attention to that question just to make sure you saw it. And once I got through there, I had a second one that I liked, and this is the Gerwitz Corporation that I wrote in this situation to draw your attention to that, to help make sure. And in these questions, it gives you a question, it explains the answer to you. So what we've done here is we've seen an audio, we've seen videos, we've had questions and answers, we've had some test yourself questions. I want to make sure that when you read the textbook, that you come out with a good foundation of knowledge. This to me is distance learning at its very best. And we go to the next question, and we're through with the first section. We're now to the second section. So in this case, the first 11 flashcards were to get you through that first section of the reading. And now we're ready for the second section of the reading. And what I hope you see is that the textbook is not to drive you crazy. The textbook is not to frustrate you. The textbook is not to make you feel stupid. The textbook is to give you the foundation for what we're going to do in this material. And if you take the textbook and you take the flashcards, then you will come out not feeling frustrated, but you'll come out knowing the material and being ready to work with that material. This is Joe Hoyle at the University of Richmond. This is my first little video on how I use this distance learning. And what I'm trying to do is to get you perfectly ready to have a great semester in this coming fall. Take care. Stay well.